Hey guys, it's your boy M.K.S here, back in another video. I should think of a different intro, shouldn't I? But anyway, yeah, I hope everyone's well wherever you are. And I'm finally round to doing part 3 of um, my thoughts on what I think the Italian football authorities, the Italian FA or FIGC, as I talked before about in part 1 and part 3, parts 1 and part 3, parts 1 and part 2, sorry. I think it's, I don't know how to pronounce this, but Federazione Italiana Gioco Calcio or something like that, I think it's pronounced. As a fan of Italian football, obviously I was happy when Italy won the Euros. I'm trying to enjoy it as much as I can. Like when we lose, I find it really disappointing. So I should enjoy it when we win. So I see we as a fan. Anyway, yeah. So there was like a petition by some England fans to say that they wanted a rematch or something. They thought that there was some unfair decisions, but I thought it sounds like they saw losers. But I had like a nightmare imagination about imagine if we really did have to replay that match. But anyway, hopefully Italy won fair and square. I know there was probably some decisions which could have gone either way. But anyway, I'm going to try and crack on with the list of things I think Italian football could donate. And as I put in the description of the video, I would love for Italian football to donate £1 million sterling to each of these following things. Which is roughly the prize money that the Azzurri or Italian team got for winning the Euros. So I think it would be great to give these to donate to these things I talked about in parts 1 and 2, and also in this video. So so yeah, £1 million to each of these things, and hopefully it'll be a mutually beneficial thing in a lot of cases, because if Italian football helps developing countries, then in the long term they could support Italian football and they return the favour. So it'll come back to us. It's like the more you give, the more you get. I suppose this is something which some people might say is also a biblical principle as well. So anyway, here goes. So again, they can use it for their PR. So it's like an investment in something long term. So as I say, continuing on from parts 1 and 2, if you haven't checked them out, please check them out. And I appreciate your likes, views, and sharing of the video and all that kind of thing, and as much support as you can give this channel as possible, and this small channel, my poor little small channel. Yeah, the more you help me, the more I can help myself and others as well. So anyway, after that plug, here goes. So number 21, I would love for Italian football, as I said before, like just to recap some of my older ideas, I'd love for Italian football to donate like possibly as much money as possible, maybe at least £1 million, maybe even more, into places which Italy colonized in the past, like Ethiopia, Tunisia, Eritrea, and places like that. So hopefully that would go towards some way towards making up for history, but also improve relations, so people from those countries could support Italian football. Because a part of me thinks that, I know Italian football can be quite imperialistic and quite racist, so part of me thinks, why would someone from Africa or from a black community want to support, or someone who's black basically want to support Italy when there's so much racism? But if we can improve those relations, then hopefully it'll be a mutually beneficial thing, improving relations through football, like using that as a starting point. Number 22, again, like to invest in things that help the world, including developing countries, in terms of things like tackling challenges and looking to a bright future. But again, supporting things like STEM in Africa and Asia, across all different African and Asian nations, even indigenous Australasian communities, setting up possibly football academies, soccer academies, if for any Americans out there, or calcio for Italian, as we're talking about Italian football, in different countries around the world, including for indigenous people from Africa, Australasia, the Americas, like all over the Americas. I think that might be a world first, to have like football academies, again soccer or calcio academies, in indigenous communities of the Americas and Australasia, like for Aborigines, Maoris, and people like that. And again, like even in remote areas where probably they've never had football academies where they could learn about football, and maybe in the future even Italian coaches coaching them or things like that. But basically places where they can go and learn about football, or play football, or enjoy themselves and learn about the game. And maybe even Italian football could work with FIFA to do stuff like that, because it would actually make football even more popular than it is. Like for indigenous people from the Americas, like Peru and Brazil and places and Argentina. Ironically, I think even though Brazil loves football quite a lot, and Argentina and places like that, I think a lot of the indigenous people there don't actually know much about football. So I think it'd be interesting to get them in football. But again, as an Italian fan, I'd love it to benefit Italy and Celtic as well as a Celtic fan. So I'd love for both Italian football teams and Celtic to fundraise to have academies in as many countries and places as possible all around the world, as well as supporters clubs. Number 23, again, like funding for those things would be great. Number 23, to help some of the poorest people around the world and like to fundraise for causes like animal rights or animal welfare, human rights, supporting some of the poorest people around the world, supporting people with disabilities and other disadvantages. And yeah, basically the poorest people around the world, like poorest 10% of people in all possible countries, and youth. And again, like setting up football academies and using some of those funds, perhaps to set up football academies in remote areas or places where people haven't had the chance to play football and things like that. Although it would be difficult, obviously, for Italian football coaches to go over there. Maybe in the future they could go over to some of those places and like do a lot of coaching and things about diets and coaching football and practice and things like that. But again, it will give people at least an opportunity to play football and get into football. And maybe even some of them are good, they could play for Italian teams in the future. Perhaps I don't know if that would work, but it's something worth giving a shot to. Perhaps number 24, again, like supporting countries that were colonized, as well as supporting things like democracy, human rights, rights for women and other groups and disadvantaged communities. Excuse me, and that sort of thing. And again, hopefully that will be a mutual benefit, as I say, with all these ideas, because that will make Italian football more popular. I think it's something to learn from English football, like the English FA, or the FA as they're called. The English FA is the only one known as the FA, so merely and simply as the FA. But they do a lot of good work around the world, like for charity, and that improves the reputation or image of English football, unlike the Premier League. So I think Italy could learn a lot from that for the league and things like that as well. 25. I'd love to see Italy improve relations with other republics. So maybe like funding republics. I know £1 million wouldn't really be a huge amount of money for entire countries or entire groups of countries even, but it could be something that is like seed money to invest in like entrepreneurs from different republics, or how to bring republics together and that sort of thing. Number 26, again, like on anti-imperial causes, like supporting countries like Kenya, South Africa, India, all over Asia and Africa, as many countries as possible. And again, like supporting their entrepreneurs and other such projects. Maybe even helping countries like China and India with their investments, and in return, like again, it will be a mutual benefit, hopefully, because Chinese and Indian businesses and Asian businesses generally, hopefully, as well as African ones, maybe could improve relations with Italians through football and invest in Italian football in return. So again, hopefully, it'll be a mutual beneficial thing, but they could use that money to increase relations or improve relations with like Chinese or Indian governments and things like that, or across Asia and Africa again, or even all around the world. 27, maybe creating areas where they honour football heroes who have helped Italian football contribute to Italian football in some way, and like honouring people who have contributed, like to helping Italian club teams win in Europe or even internationally, like honouring people like Mourinho. I'm not always a big fan of Mourinho, but he did help Inter to win like the European trophy and help them to get to the World Club Cup, and people like that. And I'm trying to remember the name. I can't remember his name, but the former manager of Liverpool, but he was the manager of Inter when they won the World Club Cup. So yeah, people like that. So maybe that would encourage more coaches like Pep Guardiola and people like that to come and work in Serie A and that sort of thing, by honouring those who support, and also like honouring sponsors of Italian football. So there could be like things that invest in like plaques or the Italian football Walk of Fame or Hall of Fame, and that sort of thing. Number 28, again, like solving problems and making the world a better place. Again, £1 million might not be a huge amount, but it's still a seed investment. It could help, like say for instance, it could be invested into like entrepreneurs in places like Kenya or South Africa. So it'll help those people to set up their own businesses. And if it's given to only a few people, obviously that could be a heck of a lot of money, which could really go far for them. 29, again, like improving relations with the rest of the world and like investing in different projects, which will again hopefully increase Italian football's brand value. So it's not just pure altruism. There's something Italian football will benefit from as well. And number 30, as many projects as possible, really, again, like in helping developing countries and improve relations between Italian football and the rest of the world and that sort of thing. So I hope this made sense, and I'd love to hear your thoughts or ideas about what prize money for the Euros could be spent on. And I'd love to see also Italians who to invest in football, like invest in a local club, and like if Italians win in other sports, they could invest in like football academies to benefit football, especially because that's the number one sport in Italy and around the world, really. So anyway, I'm out. Peace and love.